I have made 2 videos on Turning Point. 2 videos. And people have lost their minds over these videos. Some people like them, some people hate them. One of those people is Tim Pool. He has now made multiple live streams about my videos and said some really horrible things about me. I'm going to go through his comments and provide a response. Before we get started, if you're wondering why my voice sounds strange, I'm just getting over a cold, so you're going to have to bear with me. On December 5th, 2025, Tim Pool had a 2-hour live stream with Milo Yiannopoulos and George Santos. Here Tim Pool is talking about how Candace Owens discussed my video on her show.
I'm going to give you a specific example from her show.
Yeah.
She highlighted claims that Turning Point was committing fraud. And these claims were, there were a few.
It was about the tax something, right?
Right, and it's all lies. The tax form thing is all lies and manipulations.
But when you say lies.
And let me, yes, absolute lies. The man behind these videos claims to be an accountant. Okay, so either he's lying about being an accountant or he's lying to you.
Just for the record, I'm a certified public accountant. Here's my initial certificate. I've been an active CPA for the last 10 years in both New Mexico and Arizona. I was the former chief financial officer of Spaceport America, the world's first purpose-built commercial spaceport. I became a whistleblower when I uncovered financial mismanagement by the governor of New Mexico and her staff, including evidence of $250 million of fraud. I've spent the last 4 years in a massive whistleblower lawsuit against the state of New Mexico. Tim Pool clearly does not know anything about me, including the fact that I have spent years fighting for truth, justice, and exposing government corruption. No one is paying me to make these videos. I'm completely independent. I have worked in the private sector, government, and the political world for a long time. I am the perfect person to make these videos about Turning Point.
He said the tax forms were missing, as if to imply they did not file or they should have.
How they had not filed yet, or they missed the deadline.
In fact, he even mentions, I'm pretty sure in his video, the October deadline.
Tim Pool is flat out lying about what I said in my video. If we're going to talk about the missing 990 forms, let's get the facts straight. On Sunday, November 16th, 2025, I posted a video explaining that 3 of the 4 990 forms were missing for Turning Point shell companies. I have the screenshots from ProPublica, which is a website that pulls from the IRS database, which shows the forms were not posted. That is unusual. I'm not out of line for asking Turning Point where their 990 forms are. Then the forms finally get posted the following Thursday. What was so confusing for everyone was Turning Point's response. They said nothing. If Turning Point did file all 4 990 forms on 5/15/2025, why didn't they just tell us that? Wouldn't that have been the simple response to my video? It seems to me that if someone asks where your missing IRS forms are, a normal response would be to simply say, yes, I did file the forms, and here they are. Why didn't they just give us the forms? People were posting about this all over social media on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the forms showed up on Thursday through the IRS database. For those previous 4 days, why didn't Turning Point just give everyone the forms? Why stay silent about it? For Turning Point to ignore this was one of the biggest PR blunders they have ever done, because they could have stopped it on day 1 by just giving us all the missing forms. And you have to wonder, if I had not asked that question, would the forms have shown up the following Thursday? So the correct response for Turning Point should have been, thank you, Zach, for asking that question. Here are the forms. Turning Point did not respond at all until a tiny comment by the spokesperson Blake Neff on Wednesday, December 3rd. That is 17 days after I posted my video.
We have never missed a 990 deadline.
Come on. That is really disingenuous and not what happened. We were asking for the 990 forms and you would not give them to us. That is what happened. For Tim Pool to say that I am the one spreading misinformation is an extremely dishonest description of what took place.
Isn't it true that they filed on the day?
Well, I don't know exactly.
And isn't it true that when he said that they hadn't filed yet?
No.
Was there a way for him to know they had filed? Because there is an enormous gap between when you file your taxes and when it shows up on the IRS website.
Indeed, which means they could have filed it in May.
So in order
So
to,
that means
in order, so in order to say that it is a lie, what you have to do is
Oh, no, I'm not done. How about you let me finish?
Sorry.
Yes.
You're right.
I have to say that Milo is a really smart guy. I don't know this for sure, but Milo strikes me as someone who can smell nonsense a mile away. Do you know someone like this? I think for some reason, Milo has this rare ability to tell when someone is trying to pull something over on him. And so when Tim goes on his rant, Milo stops him and is like, Tim, did Zach really say that? Is that really what Zach said?
So in his latest video, he claims that the new filings, which, quote, mysteriously appeared, which they literally didn't. I mean, it's framing. He says that $1.4 million was paid by Turning Point over 3 years to a parking lot. In fact, that's just false. He's just making things up.
Okay.
It was 110 LLC registered to a UPS store where there are mailbox. A single member LLC is likely a contractor who uses an LLC for business purposes.
For sure.
And these are the stories.
Once again, Tim Pool is lying about what I said. Tim Pool is talking about my comments in the parking lot of a strip mall.
So Turning Point is putting on their IRS form that they are sending $1.5 million to this parking lot. Well, I'm sitting here in the parking lot. The business is not here as far as I can tell. What is going on?
Yes, I will admit that Tim is correct. There is a UPS store in that strip mall. But let me show you what is on the IRS form. There is no suite number, no mailbox number. This is just the address for the parking lot. So Tim Pool, tell me, where do you see the UPS suite number? I'm waiting because it is not on there. Tim Pool was lying about what I said in my video. Now, if Tim Pool wants to assume that Turning Point lied on their IRS form and put the wrong address information, he could do that. It may have been an honest mistake or intentional, we don't know. But Turning Point has not yet confirmed that the address on the IRS form should be the UPS store. So we still do not know that for sure. But I find the way that Tim Pool talks about the address very interesting. He talks about it like he knows for certain that it is the UPS store. That's odd, because it has not been confirmed. So my question for Tim is, did he talk with someone inside Turning Point who confirmed that it was supposed to be the address for the UPS store? We know that he has phone calls with people at Turning Point. I think that Tim needs to answer that question for all of us. And be very careful how you answer Tim. Because if that phone call took place, that means that Tim Pool has inside knowledge that Turning Point falsified their IRS documents by putting the wrong address information. If that phone call did not take place, that means that Tim is pulling all of this out of thin air and lying to all of us. So which one is it, Tim? I am asking reasonable questions about addresses on the IRS form that do not make any sense. Tim Pool's statements about my video are so dishonest, disingenuous, and completely misrepresenting what I said. When I was in that parking lot, I was just filming my honest reaction. I didn't know what I was going to find when I drove out there. To be honest, I expected to find a storefront for a marketing agency. Turning Point is paying all this money to Jake Hoffman, an Arizona state senator. If we were to accept Tim Pool's assumption that the money was sent to a UPS mailbox, I'm not sure that is any better. This politician is getting all this money dropped off in a UPS mailbox? Tim Pool, you don't think that sounds suspicious? Jake Hoffman, as a politician, has a responsibility to make his businesses look like legitimate operations and not bribes. He's not even trying to make this look like a legitimate company. There's no website. There are no offices. What is he doing with all of this money?
Okay, I'm not going to tell you, because I haven't looked into this, that he's not wrong. But
He's completely wrong.
I accept.
And so-
I accept what you say. But
When Candace,
call him
without
a liar,
vetting,
to call him a liar.
Oh, yeah, I'll call him a liar.
It's not about calling him a liar. He's intentionally manipulating information.
Most importantly, to call Candace a liar, you have to do two things that you cannot do. The first is you have to travel in time, and the second is you have to reach inside her head and see what her thought process was.
Is Candace smart?
You cannot. Can you seriously doubt it?
I just think it is funny that in all this discussion about Turning Point, the one person who's coming out looking like a saint is Milo Yiannopoulos. Isn't that ironic? The other guest in this live stream was George Santos. He was a Republican congressman who went to prison for fraud. Then Trump commuted his sentence. I will stick up for George Santos, even though he trashed me in this live stream. I think he was unfairly treated and should never have gone to prison. I am shocked that Tim Pool does not see the connection. George Santos went to prison for so much less than what we are talking about here. George Santos never picked up $1.5 million from a UPS store mailbox. George Santos never did anything like that, and he still went to prison. Am I the only person who sees the irony in that? I also have to point out that I am very measured and reasonable in my videos. I say over and over again that there could be an innocent explanation for all of this. I started out in my very first video saying about how I like Turning Point. I hope they succeed. I make it very clear that I am open to alternative explanations, and the staff at Turning Point could be completely innocent. It is okay if they made a mistake. No one is going to hold it against Turning Point if they made an honest mistake. They just have to tell us that. Did they screw up on the address? If there is an explanation, everyone would move on. That is all Turning Point has to do. Now, I understand that Turning Point is arranging to do a live stream soon where they answer questions, so hopefully they address some of these concerns. If you watch Tim Pool's full 2-hour live stream, the overall point that he is making is that both Candace Owens and everyone making videos about Turning Point are lying in our videos for clicks, and he says that it is evil.
And Candace Owens is doing the lowest grade, but well done, social assumptive reasoning, manipulation, and it is evil. It's evil.
Okay, so I think it's ridiculous for you earlier on to claim that you're not saying what she's doing is morally wrong, and then to call what she's doing evil. I think it's.
I think it is morally. What do you mean?
Okay.
You are calling us evil. That is crossing the line, Tim. It's one thing to disagree with us. It's one thing to come up with alternative arguments. You are just calling us evil. That is uncalled for, especially when I have been so measured and reasonable in my videos. I really want Tim Pool to clarify this. I am an accountant talking about tax forms. How am I evil? But hold on, it gets worse. I'm going to give you more information about what was happening behind the scenes, because what you do not know is that I was communicating with Tim Pool's team before he went off on his rant. The person who books guests for Tim Pool is someone named Lisa Reynolds. After I did my first video on Turning Point, she emailed me if I would do a 30-minute interview with Tim Pool on his morning show. This was just a few days after my first video. I intentionally decided that I was going to wait to do any other videos or interviews about Turning Point. My approach is that if I ask questions of someone in a video, I think it's only fair to give them some time to respond. I never want to gang up on people. I think that's a professional and measured way to do social media. I could have done a video every single day and gotten tons of clicks and tons of money, but I decided not to do that. Here's how I responded. Hello, thank you for reaching out. I would like to wait some time to allow Turning Point to respond to some of the concerns before saying anything further. I am not prepared to do a hit at this time. Also be aware that the video that was shown on Dee Dee's podcast contains some incorrect statements. Sections of my video have been removed and republished at the following link. And she responds, I completely understand. Thank you for letting me know. So what I'm referring to is that in my first video on Turning Point, I was notified that I made a mistake. I immediately corrected it, I think within the first 8 hours. I edited the video and I reposted it. I posted a correction statement on YouTube and X.com. The original video was shown on another podcast called Didi Got a Podcast. I also contacted Didi directly, and he also posted a correction on his YouTube channel. And by the way, it turns out that Didi is a super nice person, and you should go check out his podcast. So I'm explaining all of this to Tim Pool's staff. I'm explaining how I'm allowing Turning Point time to respond, and I'm careful about not posting false information. If I get something wrong, I make corrections, and I don't just leave things up to get more views. Now, I cannot say for sure if Tim Pool personally ever saw my email, but let's be real. I am sure he heard about my email. This is why I find it so shocking that Tim Pool goes on his live stream accusing me of being evil and lying in my videos for clicks when I have sent an email to his staff saying the complete opposite. If you just look at my behavior, it is the complete opposite. I am showing you evidence that Tim Pool knew that he was lying about me. He is doing the exact same thing he is accusing me of doing. Now, to put this in additional context, Tim Pool is one of the largest creators on YouTube and across social media. He has millions of subscribers. I'm a small channel. I'm a nobody. This is what is known as punching down. Tim Pool is lying about me to his millions of subscribers, smearing my name, and trying to destroy a small channel that he doesn't agree with. This is awful behavior. Tim Pool, I'm speaking to you right now, human to human. This was a really messed up thing you did to me. Punching down at small YouTube channels is really messed up. I am requesting that Tim Pool give me an apology for all the lies he told about me to his millions of subscribers. I also think it is really telling that Tim Pool is talking about me at all. Just think about this. I'm a tiny channel. Why are people attacking a nobody? Is it because what I am saying is actually credible? It is kind of strange that Tim Pool is losing his mind over my video. I'm asking questions about an address on an IRS form. He has now spent multiple live streams bashing my video. Don't you think that is a little overreaction? I think that there is something that I said in my last video that really makes the people at Turning Point nervous. Otherwise, there would not be all this uproar about it. I have other things to make videos about. The only reason I'm still making videos about Turning Point is because you keep making such a big deal about it. You keep attacking me, so I have to respond. The fact that people are going ballistic makes it seem like something I said is making people scared. I have to say that I've always liked Tim Pool. I have personally watched a lot of his videos. If he were to look at his records, he would see that I used to be a paying member of Timcast. I will tell you this, I will not be a paying member in the future. I'm not making this video so that people feel sorry for me. I don't need Tim Pool to like my videos. I've been through a lot in my life. If Tim Pool wants to hate me, it really doesn't bother me that much. I understand that Tim Pool is friends with all of the people at Turning Point. I realize that they probably called him and asked him to discredit my video. I realize that social media is a rough and tumble business, and I get it. I have no bad feelings towards Tim Pool. You don't have to send him any hate. I am making this video to show you my evidence of the type of person Tim Pool actually is, so that the next time that Tim Pool starts going on his rants about Candace Owens, you can put it in perspective. I want to take you back in time to when this all started. Most people have forgotten about this. When Candace Owens first started talking about Brigitte Macron, she posted this tweet on March 12th, 2024. I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man. Let me show you what Tim Pool said on his show that day.
I'm like, sometimes I wish I had the gall to say such a thing, because you get headlines, you build followers, you make a lot of money doing that stuff.
What bank is going to take the house when that's not true? I'm here
I
from
mean,
the
like,
career bank, and I would like your career
I'm not
as
saying
collateral.
I'm not literally talking about a bet. I'm saying like Candace Owens saying such a provocative thing certainly will make her a household name, and her career is benefiting from it. There's no loss of her career from saying anything like this. I don't doubt her that she truly believes this. I'm just saying I wish I sometimes believed these things, and then I could make videos like that instead of just being like probably not.
He said, "Sometimes I wish I had the gall to say such a thing." He is jealous. He's jealous of Candace Owens. He has been for the last 2 years. He wishes that he can talk about the Brigitte Macron scandal, but he knows that if he does, it will upset all of his political friends. And it is the same thing that he's doing today. He is still jealous of Candace Owens, he is still frustrated, and he is still protecting his political friends. You can see it in the video. In Tim Pool's rant against me, he's basically giving me advice. He's telling me to shut my mouth. I can tell you, Tim Pool, that is not going to happen. But now let me give you some advice, Tim Pool. If I were you, I would be very careful about staking your reputation on claiming that Turning Point is this wonderful company with no financial problems. I know that you are off somewhere in West Virginia. I'm here on the ground in Phoenix, Arizona, where Turning Point's main offices are. I am talking to people, and I am hearing the stories about what is really going on behind the scenes in the financial records at Turning Point. And I will say, there is a lot more that I did not include in my last 2 videos. There are people working on stories about corruption at Turning Point and how they are using their shell companies to inappropriately move money around for politicians. People have not published these stories because they were afraid of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk has been dead for 3 months. These stories are going to start to come out. So before you base your reputation on singing the praises of Turning Point, I would think twice if I were you. This is a case of don't shoot the messenger. I'm just giving you a heads up about what is coming. Tim Pool's big argument is that we have to support Turning Point because it is splitting the Republican Party.
How she is telling people to pull their funding from Turning Point.
Yeah.
And she's destroying the coalition. Democrats are going to win in the midterms because of what she is doing.
Who cares?
And she said, I actually would prefer it not if the Democrats win the midterms and then start committees and then start arresting media personalities and doing what they did
impeaching
Peter
Trump.
Navarro.
We knew that when we elected the guy. We knew that was coming. It's either coming now or it's coming in 2 years or it's coming in 4 years. I mean, what's your point?
It doesn't have to come.
Just not now?
No, it doesn't have to come if we stop the self-inflicted.
Oh yeah, sure. No, they'll never.
These are self-inflicted.
You're absolutely
wounds,
right. There'll never be another Democrat president, so that's never going to happen.
I'm not saying that, Milo. I'm not saying that.
That was baked in when
we don't have to forego the entirety of Congress to the Democrats only so that they can spend the next 2 years after the midterms
because they're so effective.
This is an outrageous statement for anyone who's been paying attention. Turning Point themselves has been viciously attacking other Republicans. Just last month, a Republican city council member, Julie Spilsbury, was recalled in an effort led by Turning Point. She was kicked out of office in the middle of her term. Now, I don't know that much about her, but she looks like a sweet, nice person. Honestly, she looks like someone I would be friends with. She looks like a decent human being. This is a city council person. Turning Point went to her and said, if you do not vote the way Turning Point tells you to vote, we're going to kick you out. Spilsbury is not a rhino. We're not talking about someone like Liz Cheney. This is a mainstream Republican. Turning Point destroyed her life. Now, this is not illegal. It's just dirty politics, so I get it. But why is Tim Pool supporting this? For Tim Pool to argue on his show that we all need to just shut up and support Turning Point for Republican unity, that is the height of hypocrisy. How can you say that, Tim Pool, when last month they went after and destroyed a fellow Republican? Why are they not trying to recall, I don't know, the Democrats? Why not go after the Democrats? That is not what they're doing. They're using their donations to go after Republicans. Tim Pool, you need to open your eyes, and you need to do it fast. Let me also point out something else strange. As far as I'm aware, Turning Point's Chief Financial Officer, Justin Olson, is not a CPA. He's a politician. He's in the Arizona State House of Representatives. Tim Pool, don't you think that's a conflict of interest? One simple explanation for all of this is that maybe Turning Point should not have a politician as their CFO. It is entirely possible that Justin Olson has no idea what he is doing. Another problem that I mentioned in my last video that I find outrageous is that in the 990 form for America's Turning Point, Tyler Boyer, the COO, is listed as an independent contractor. Tim Pool, come on. You run a business. You know this is weird. How is the COO an independent contractor? There are strict rules around this with the IRS. Is this a mistake? How does Tyler Boyer fall under the IRS definition of an independent contractor? So we have already discussed two possible major accounting errors on these forms. The address for 110 LLC being incorrect, that looks like an error. Tyler Boyer being listed as an independent contractor, that looks like an error. How many errors did this politician CFO put in their IRS forms? And why is Tim Pool calling me evil for asking these questions? I want to give a message to all the people who are complaining that the Republican Party is fighting. I think you forget what makes Republicans great. We are the people who put American flags in the front yard. We're the people who like baseball and apple pie. We are the people who, if you raise taxes on our tea, we're going to throw it in the harbor. And yes, we ask questions, and yes, we demand accountability. If we have criminals in our midst, we do not become a stronger party by ignoring them. We become a stronger party by cleaning them out. It is time that we remember who we are. We are Americans, and no one should make fun of you or call you evil because you are standing strong and fighting for the country that you believe in. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about Tim Pool? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. If you want to support independent journalism like this channel, consider signing up for a membership on my website, wolvesandfinance.com. For $6 a month, your support helps me to keep making these videos. Thank you to everyone who has signed up. I'm Zach from Wolves and Finance. Thank you for watching.